Phantom Blade Zero is going to be something special if the demo I played is any indication for the final product. There's a great trend going on right now where we see many action games still use some Souls-like mechanics but be way more forgiving while still giving the same satisfaction for beating a challenging encounter. Like, there are difficulty options, but I found the regular mode already very well balanced. I was mostly surprised by how easy it was to pick this game up and already feel like a badass. In my play session, that a lovely developer, by the way, from S-Game recorded over the shoulder, so that is me playing, while the other footage is from the developers directly, all captured on PS5. I started with a tutorial where it became immediately clear that learning and using combos by combining light and heavy attacks is going to be very important. You cannot spam them though, because you will need Shakai for it, which the orange bar under your health that recharges over time. Blocking also depletes this bar. By holding L1, you will keep negating the opponent's attacks, but again, you cannot do this endlessly. While if you parry by pressing L1 when the enemy is about to hit you, you will parry, which doesn't only sound very satisfying, but it also does not deplete your Shakai, so sure, it's tougher to pull off, but totally the smarter option. And you can actually parry incoming projectiles from bosses, and I had to see, and yes, if you parry an incoming arrow at the right time, you will slice it in half and it won't be damaged. I love how Phantom Blade Zero really rewards your creativity. Everything I tried seems to be working, which created some really awesome moments. So the demo was made out of different parts. First, that tutorial section I already showed you, where after learning all the basics, you have to defeat the NPC that was first teaching you everything. After that, I could approach a more open area, an outpost, with multiple ways to go about it. You can sneak up to enemies to assassinate them, use your bow with a powerful charged shot to take out the archer from afar without alerting the rest of the camp, or again, just stand close to them and kill them with melee hits. Jumping on an unaware enemy is also possible. Like, I'm not sure if in the full game you can eliminate everyone with stealth, but it at least seems like a powerful tactic to have less enemies to worry about when the inevitable fight breaks out. To finish the outpost, I had to fight the leader, after which I was teleported to another section with a more challenging boss encounter, and the demo ended with the ball and chain wielding Hung Xing from the trailer. That was a ton of fun to fight. So yes, many boss encounters after each other, but the full game will not have a structure like this. And by the way, I will have way more videos on Phantom Blade Zero up, so subscribe to stay up to date, and if you could leave a like, that would really be awesome, so thanks for that. So the developers described the game as semi-open world, so while there will be linear sections, we should often be placed in large open maps and then have the freedom to explore these. Now, I sadly could not try this out yet, but I can already see this work really well. I love the small parkour elements that were already present in the demo. Simple actions like sliding down a wall just looks very stylish, and the fluidity of it all makes moving across the more open spaces probably a blast. But make no mistake, Phantom Blade Zero can still kick your ass, especially that final boss would one-shot me with their ball and chain ability because I did not know what to do. Well, you can obviously counter this, but the cool part is that there are many ways to do so, which will make the fight way more manageable. The most obvious way to counter the attack is with a ghost step. So instead of the enemy having an unblockable attack that you can only get out of the way from, in Phantom Blade Zero, you can counter every move that the enemy throws at you, at least in the demo. When they blink blue, you want to parry to perform a ghost step and appear behind them, so you can follow up with a powerful combo. For the red blinking attack, you can also do a ghost step by pressing the evade button right before the attack hits you, which in the case of the Hung Xing immediately teleports you to the enemy so you are close and can deal some nice damage. My tactic though was grabbing the tiger cannon that you can use as one of your two ranged weapons. This would throw the boss on the ground, so interrupt the attack, and I could now easily get close. Again, you are also very powerful in this game thanks to the many tools you have, and then you can come up with creative ways to use those tools, and it was really satisfying to find these less common ways to fight the boss. And when I say fight, I really mean it. In Phantom Blade Zero, it really feels as if you are fighting these enemies and not just waiting for them to do their attack and then find an opening to strike. You can constantly be in the face of the enemy because you will always have an answer to the attack they're about to do. You feel like a very strong soldier and are easily on the same level thanks to your swift movement and all the weapons you have. So there's also this cannon that lets you breathe fire, which was super strong against this final boss and has quite a lot of ammo. That tiger cannon I showed you before can also be used for a more long-ranged attack instead of the blast that I mostly used it for. And you also have 2 melee weapons. So again, when you do a combo with a melee weapon, you use Shakai, but when you switch to a different weapon mid-combo, you will regenerate your full orange Shakai bar, so can continue with a different attack. Now when you switch weapons though, you cannot immediately switch back, it will be on a cooldown. But yeah, even in this demo, which was clearly made for these hands-on sessions, there was already a ton of depth. There should be about 30 different weapons in the game, but they are all based on the 3 types I could already play with: the longsword, the dual blades and the regular sword. So sure, 3 weapon types doesn't sound like a lot, but what is cool is that each of these can come in different lengths and different weights, impacting how players utilize them in combat. So they should still feel quite different. And these new weapons can also come from bosses. Like during the demo, I suddenly had the longsword from the Commander Cleave, who I just killed. And there should be 20 different ranged weapons, and the developers note that they have not shown the most creative ones yet, and the ball and chain weapon is seemingly also one we can use ourselves after killing that boss. It all looks and sounds very cool, but we will of course have to wait and see how it all comes together. The story is still a question mark, as I did not see any of that, but to be fair, for a game like this, similar to say Sekiro, I don't think I will need it to really enjoy it. The game should be about 30 to 40 hours long, and they plan to have a robust endgame, a dungeon with roguelike elements, a boss rush option, multiple endings, and of course plenty of side quests, hidden bosses and other optional content. Yeah, it all sounds pretty ambitious, hard to say if they can pull it off. I just know that the foundation they've shown here with this demo is very good, and that's already an amazing start. And by the way, if you're going to Gamescom or Tokyo Game Show, you will be able to try this Phantom Blade Zero demo yourself as well. There will be no microtransactions, by the way, and there might be multiplayer dungeons, so this really sounds like the Rise of the Ronin approach, where the open world is single player, but there are these instanced areas that you can also play through with other people. 60 FPS on PS5, but the bad news is that they plan to launch it in fall 2026. So it's still a long ways away, sadly, but let them take their time. I think they got something special on their hands. PC and PS5. Subscribe, because when we learn more or have new gameplay, which I'm sure we will get soon, I will break it down here and share it with you. A like on the video would of course really help me out, and luckily we have a Black Myth Wukong very soon to hold us over. Check out our recent video on the game by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.